UFC 329 was this weekend, and it was a crazy card. Let's get into it. But before we do, don't forget, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get this off the ground, so any support is greatly appreciated. So, we'll jump right into the main event. I know that's why y'all are here. Conor McGregor faced off against Max Holloway, and Conor McGregor is cooked. He's done. He's finished. His career is dead. And I don't want to see him back. I personally don't want to see him back. He lost all his hype between the Poirier loss and this loss. He's done. He's not the person that you remember. He's not the Mystic Mac. He is just some weird old he's some weird old man who puts things up his nose, and we'll get into that in just a second. But ultimately, super disappointing fight. Came out, snapped his knee within the first kick he threw. Just wasn't impressive whatsoever. And I think the worst part about this is it doesn't do anything for Max Holloway. I'm a huge Max Holloway fan, and I was looking forward to him putting a beat down, but he couldn't even get that. It was done in 1 minute and 9 seconds. Conor McGregor stopped by snapping his own leg, throwing the dumbest jumping kick. And so we're going to get into that first. So, first and foremost, I waited a little bit to put out this video because I wanted more information before we could really know what happened there. Obviously, when he's talking about his head gasket, he started tweeting and posting immediately, but he said, his head gasket is gone, destroyed. I had no injuries going into the camp in the fight. I was throwing kicks, planted and jumping all throughout camp as well as backstage before the fight. This came out of nowhere. The fact of the matter is, that is just not true. If you watch that walkout, if you watched him in the locker room, even in the locker room, he threw a kick, and you saw him look at his coach and touch his knee, and you saw that something was not right. You saw on the walkout something was not right. He knew, and he's never going to claim that he knew. He said he was sharp and ready. Talking me being awful walking into the fight is nonsense. You can't believe this man. It is very likely a contractual obligation that he cannot fight knowing he has an injury. The UFC doesn't want him to fight knowing that he has an injury, or at least they don't want that to be public information, because then you get into this really weird realm with sports betting where it's basically fraud. If you're allowing him to go out there with the knowledge beforehand that he was already injured and that he wasn't doing well, that completely discredits the organization. It discredits their betting partners, and that's a huge problem for them. So obviously he's not going to go out there. He's not going to say, oh yeah, I was injured going into this, blah, 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 blah. That is not the way to approach it for him. It would put him off on a bad foot with the UFC, and he doesn't want that. He wants to finish out his contract. But we have information on the other side of that. From Josh on Air. He's a Fox Sports analyst, very reputable, has been around for a long time, and he's got no skin in the game at this point. And he said, Conor and his team informed Dana earlier in the week that he had a knee injury. The show must go on, and it was because of those financial implications. This was the biggest gate in UFC history. They made millions upon millions of dollars, and they weren't going to throw that away. Now, I don't think that the injury sustained beforehand was serious. I think that there was some kind of minor injury. If your knee was already destroyed, if your ACL was completely torn, which is what this injury is looking like, you aren't going to go out there and throw that kick, and you aren't going to be physically able to throw that kick. If you look at the video, you can see his knee fall out of place. What I do think happened is that there was an injury beforehand. Not an injury so bad that the fight necessarily should have been canceled, but certainly an injury there. And he went out and he continued to fight, and because he was already injured, because he had all this adrenaline flooding his system, all this cortisol, all that overrides your neural barriers, and he did something incredibly stupid when he came out. He came out, he threw a flying switch kick, landed terribly, and that already existent injury became too much to deal with. Conor McGregor is clearly past his prime between the Poirier injury and this injury, all the time on steroids, which weakens your ligament. He is not physically able to fight. I don't want to see him back. He should never come back. Now, just because I don't want to see him come back doesn't mean he's not going to come back. He is He doesn't have the hype that that he had before, but he's still a really big star in the UFC, and they're still contractually obligated to provide him fights. He wants to get out of his contract so that he can go make money other places, be that BKFC, which would be a terrible idea for him, be that boxing. There is money out there in non-UFC organizations for Conor McGregor, and he wants to make sure that this deal goes through. Now, he has gone completely off the deep end, and I'm just gonna say it. I think he's back on. He's not back on the sauce, but he's back on some nose beers, if you catch my drift, because he is posting like no normal human being posts. You know, if you want to, I'm a religious man. I get wanting to thank God after a bad thing happens. But he posted this. Paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs. And then this weird photo. These are not the actions of a man who is in his right mind. I think that he crashed out and crashed out really bad. Now, is he necessarily back on, what he was doing before, what he was doing on his break? I don't know, but this does not bode well for his mental state. We've got another video here that he posted. And just tell me, does this look like the actions of a man and the speech patterns and the mannerisms of a man that is completely sober?
I'm only 28 years of age. Happy birthday to the mic.
Happy birthday.
We'll be back.
It matches your outfit, you.
We'll be back. Come on.
In
the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. We'll be back.
Whispering to himself.
Let's go.
Let's
go.
He hits this weird. I mean, I know he's praying, but it's strange. Deep exhales. I've been around enough of this in my life that I know there's that tweakiness. It's not always the straight jaw clench. It's an almost relaxation, but it's not. It's an appearance of relaxation. Between the long Instagram posts, between him looking real weird in videos, he's posting on Instagram other weird long religious posts, and he posted "I am getting closer" right after the fight and started posting all these photos like he did something. It's not normal. He's clearly not in a good headspace, and this does not bode well. Now, let's talk about what's next for Conor McGregor. He's out for a year. He was scheduled to come back in April. I don't think that's going to happen at this point. April's a little too short. It's probably going to be May or June. ACL injury takes a long time to rehab. It's just not going to end out well. Now, what do you do with him? In my opinion, he has lost all of his hype. There is no reason to book him for a third time against Max Holloway. Obviously, Max Holloway wants that. It is the easiest money he's ever made in his life. And if he comes back, there is a very real possibility Conor McGregor will probably be 39 by the time he comes back. That is past your prime. Far past your prime. And past the point that you should really be fighting. You're not Glover Teixeira. And really few people are. Max Holloway wants that money. I don't think you book Conor Max 3. I don't think it's worth it. And I don't think the UFC wants to take that risk of putting him on the headlining spot of I know it's not pay-per-view anymore, but putting him on the headlining spot of a numbered card is too dangerous for them at this point. He can still sell tickets, but you can't give him any high-level competition. So, in my opinion, what you gave Conor McGregor, Chandler's also on a downspin. Chandler is not going to be in the UFC for much longer. McGregor is not going to be in the UFC for much longer. Make that fight. Make Chandler and McGregor. Don't make the main event of a numbered card. Fight Night Dublin, June, July of next year. You make Conor McGregor versus Chandler, and I think that'll be a good fight. Could be a retirement fight for both of them. It'll round out their careers. And I think that's the best way to end the saga, without putting too much risk on the organization itself. Now, this also sucks for Max Holloway, because if Max Holloway won this, there was a very real chance that they would put him back up against Gaethje. He has a win over Gaethje. He has a very good chance of winning again over Gaethje. Now, the problem is Max Holloway just made $3 million minimum off of this fight. That was the declared winnings. There's always something behind the scenes. However, he wants to stay at 170, and he said that he wants to stay at 170. So putting him against a contender at 55 anytime soon is just not realistic. Unfortunately, this really messes up the trajectory of Max Holloway's career. Max Holloway is indisputably one of the best strikers of all time, and I would love to see him go back down to 55. But he said he's put in the work to get up to 70, and now he owes his family some time, so he's going to put on more weight. That cut is going to be hard back down to 155, especially because when you're bulking up to 170 like that, it's not necessarily just a lack of water weight. He's putting on muscle there, and taking that muscle off is going to take a while. So honestly, I don't know what you do with Max Holloway here, but it messes up the lightweight division. You could put him against some of the lower ranked, some of the low top 10 welterweights, but God, it's a sad day to be Max Holloway. Conor McGregor can go fuck himself. Dude is a pathetic, weird rapist. Broke his own leg twice. Loser. But you make McGregor Chandler for Conor's last fight in the UFC, and now we're just lost with Holloway. Fortunately, even though the main event sucked, we had an amazing co-main, Benoit Saint-Denis versus Paddy Pimblett. God, it was perfect, and I told you exactly what would happen. Benoit shoots sloppy takedowns, and those takedowns are going to put him in a submittable position by Paddy Pimblett. Paddy has amazing jiu-jitsu, and Benoit is completely overhyped. He beat Dan Hooker and Beneil Dariush. Those wins are meaningless. If Paddy Pimblett couldn't get past this, he wasn't going to be anywhere near the top ever again. But he got past it, 52 seconds. Benoit Saint-Denis shot a really shitty takedown with his head on the outside and got done like this in 52 seconds. Paddy locked up the Darce. It was originally a guillotine, but he saw the opening, locked up the Darce, a lot harder to defend, and it got done like this. Ass in the face, balls on his head, submitted in 52 seconds. It was beautiful. It was a good Scouse night. We'll get into Luke Riley in a little bit, but that was just the absolute perfect way to do this. And it was exactly what, if you watched the sport, you knew that was going to be exactly what happened. Shout out Paddy Pimblett. He's got UFC gold in his future. Not just the star power, but he has the skills to get there. He's got an iron chin. He didn't even have to show that in this fight. I think there were 3 or 4 strikes landed in the whole fight before Benoit shot that terrible takedown, head on the outside, got darced. Now, I did not pick this next fight quite as well. I gave Corey Sandhagen far more credit than he deserved, and was giving Mario Batista a little bit less credit than he deserved. Now, I don't think, based on the results of this fight, that Mario Batista is going to get gold anytime soon. The bantamweight division is really stacked, and Corey, he looked sloppy. I mean, he took round 2, but in the end, Mario Batista did way more work. And we've got an image on this. Corey posted, that leg is absolutely destroyed. He got put in a knee bar, Soliev stretch, in the first round, destroyed his hamstring, and still managed to take it to a decision. Now, if you have a completely destroyed hamstring and you're taking the other guy to a decision, that does not bode well. Mario Batista is not going to do well against the really top bantamweight contenders. There is no chance of him against Jan. There is no chance of him against Merab. He's got some chance against Sugar Sean. Honestly, I think I would book that. But Umar destroys him. Jan destroys him. Merab destroys him. It's not going to be good for Mario Batista. I think he's going to become kind of a gatekeeper for the bantamweight division at this point. Next fight. Hey, I picked this wrong, but I'm not even upset about it. Fight of the night is right. This was an absolutely amazing performance from both athletes. I originally had picked Loner Kavanaugh, Lonnie Kavanaugh, this Welsh dude. I can't pronounce his name no matter how hard I try. I picked him by TKO. That's really just what I thought would happen, and it was looking like it was getting there in the second round. It was back and forth the whole time. I think this is a perfect pick for fight of the night. It was an absolute scrap. It was back and forth. You didn't know who was going to win. And Royval ended up locking in a really nice submission in the third round. It was beautiful. I think that was a perfect pick for fight of the night. I think Lonnie Kavanaugh he's still in the top rankings. He's still going to do well. I don't think he's obviously not going to get a title shot anytime soon. Brandon Royval, on the other hand, I think I really discounted him. I thought he was past his prime, but it looks like he really still does have the chance to get to gold. Obviously, it'll be a while. Flyweight is so stacked. You have Vaughn having to fight Pantoja in the rematch. You have Kopp sitting right there. So it's going to be a while before Royval gets anywhere near a title, but he does have a real chance at this point. Now, for the last fight on the main card, King Green, Terrence McKinney. Yet another scrap. Terrence McKinney piecing him up on the feet and then getting him down into a submission attempt. Dominated pretty much the entire first round. But King Green, Bobby Green, not calling this man King, Bobby Green turned it around, landed some nasty body shots, and ended up getting the TKO in the last second. Now, I think this could have gone to a second round. Terrence McKinney was on the ground. He was covering his head. However, it seems like Terrence McKinney was doing that so that he could get to the second round. Now, that is not intelligent defense, and the ref is not wrong for stopping it for him covering up from those shots. But you had 1 second left in the round. Let it keep going. Let it go to a second round. It is a decision that any fighter would reasonably make to cover themselves at that point and just try to outlast so that they can get their rest, get back in, and go to that second round. Great performance by Bobby Green. I think he's shown that he really is a gatekeeper in the lightweight division. He is someone that we can always count on for an exciting fight, whether he wins or loses. And Terrence T-Rex McKinney, he upholds his streak. He does not make it to the second round. It just doesn't happen. He either gets a brutal knockout or he gets knocked out. But I think he's only been to the second round maybe 3 or 4 times, and we did not make that 5. Great fight. Great performance by Bobby Green. Turned it around. Got his performance of the night bonus. Absolutely deserved. Moving into the prelims, Robert Whittaker, Nikita Krylov. Robert Whittaker took the win, and it was well deserved. Now, I don't know for those who were watching the prelims, the commentary team, especially Rogan, was just calling Whittaker fat like the entire time. And Whittaker did gas a little bit in that first round. I gave this to Whittaker. I knew he would take it out. I knew that he had the skill that Krylov doesn't. Krylov has size, and Krylov showed his size in the first round. The grappling really gassed Whittaker in the first round, but Whittaker came back. He had his second wind. He was looking incredibly sharp, and by the third round, he hit him with this brutal straight right. Had him looking like a gnome. Had him looking like one of the 7 dwarves. Broke his jaw, and Krylov quit. I think that was an amazing performance by Whittaker, but I think it also doesn't bode well for what comes next for Robert Whittaker. I love the man. I think that what he did at middleweight is amazing, but at light heavyweight, the power is different, and Nikita Krylov is overrated. When you put Whittaker up, Whittaker against Yuri would be a massacre. Whittaker against Olberg would be a massacre. Whitaker against almost anyone in the top side of the light heavyweight division would be a massacre because Krylov just has his size against Whitaker. Whitaker had the speed advantage, he had the technical advantage, and he honestly had the power advantage. But when you put him up against those top ranked light heavyweights, it's not going to end well. So, Robert Whitaker, great job, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to go much further in light heavyweight. Maybe take one more fight a little bit lower in the rankings, not lower than 12, but not anywhere near top 5 to 8. Take a number 10, 11, maybe 9, and then we'll see what happens. Getting into the next fight, it was a layup. Gable Steveson, Elisha Ellison. Everyone knew Gable Steveson was going to win. Everyone knew he was going to win first round. I absolutely called this. However, I think we saw some real vulnerabilities in Gable's game. Even his wrestling, he claimed afterwards that he didn't shoot a shot. He absolutely shot a shot. And it was shucked off. It didn't go well. And that's against Elisha Ellison, who is not top-level competition in the UFC. When you put Gable up against those top heavyweights, he's going to get fraud checked. Now, me personally, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, you need to slow roll him, you need to give him more experience, don't move him up the rankings quickly. I say give him Pavlovich. Give him Pavlovich right off the bat. We saw what happened to Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel got absolutely destroyed by RDR. I think we need that same treatment for Gable. I think we put him up against one of those top-ranked people and fraud check him. Because there were he was taking shots. He didn't get it done as cleanly as he should have. He was failing takedowns. Ultimately, even though Gable Steveson is trained by the best, John Jones, it's not going to end out well in heavyweight for him. Luckily, heavyweight is a little bit weaker division, so they have some people that they can slow roll him against, but it's not going to end up well for him once he reaches those top level competition in the division. Showed a sloppy performance. Gable Steveson, round 1, KO. Absolutely called that. Now, to my next bad pick of the card. I gave veteran status too much advantage in my picks on this card. Between Cody Garbrandt and Corey Sandhagen, I thought that being that veteran, being that person with championships and contenders under your belt would give you more advantage. But it didn't. Cody Garbrandt came out with an opening flurry. He just didn't do anything afterwards. I think that's what we've seen from Garbrandt is that when he doesn't get it immediately, even against Zhao Long, after he got kicked repeatedly in the groin, Cody Garbrandt came back, one flurry, and then really didn't have much to show. Adrian Yanez, I don't know. I want to say there's supposed to be an Enseña over the N on that, but or an Enye. I forget what it's called. I think Enseña is teacher. My Spanish is terrible. But Adrian Yanez, he put him out. It was beautiful. I was discrediting Yanez, but I think that there is a real chance for him to start working his way up the rankings now. Good on him. Cody Garbrandt, I know he probably wants to go out on a win, but it's not going to happen. Cody Garbrandt should retire. Go do influencer boxing. Go do bare knuckle. You are, in many ways, a legend in the sport. People think very highly of you, but you just aren't on the level to be competing at the highest level of UFC anymore. And it's sad to say. Obviously, people overestimate the Cruz fight a bit, but it was a beautiful performance. People will remember that. Go out on your shield. Don't go the Aldo route. Don't go the Cerrone route. Don't drag yourself out for too long and end up with this incredibly long. You don't want to be tied to Ivasa. You never want to be tied to Ivasa. So, Cody Garbrandt, nice effort, but retire. Adrian Yanez, great performance. KO in the first round. Perfect. I'm excited to see what he does next. Now, for the second Scouser of the card, I called this one. Luke Riley is top level comp. Featherweight division is obviously stacked, so it'll take a while for him to start working his way up the rankings. But Luke Riley, first round TKO. Stoppage was a little bit early, but Luke Riley wobbled Kai Kamaka III and followed up with an absolutely beautiful Muay Thai combo. He was landing knees up the middle. He was landing his hooks. He was styling on Kai Kamaka, and Kai Kamaka was still standing. He was still conscious. He was on wobbly legs, but he was defending. I think it could have gone a little bit longer, but ultimately his defense was not. The boundary for a ref stoppage is intelligent defense, and it was very clear that he was not able to defend himself any longer in any meaningful way, even if he was still up and moving. So I think that was a good stoppage. Kai Kamaka, his last fight was a split decision. This one's a loss. This is his second time in the UFC. Cut him. I don't want to see him. And like I said, that 3 at the end of his name, that's not going to be the amount of times he signed to the UFC. He's going back down to regionals. He'll do decently there, but UFC should cut him, never sign him again. Good effort and good early career, but at this point, it's just not worth it to keep him in here. There's so many good featherweights in this world that it doesn't make sense to keep someone like Kai Kamaka around. So that's 2 for 2 on the Scousers this card. Beautiful performances. Paddy Pimblett and Luke Riley did amazing. It was absolutely beautiful. Scousers are gonna be coming up. Keep an eye out. Luke Riley is going to be a real contender in the featherweight division, especially if he can continue to perform on this level. Moving into the early prelims, Tracy Cortez, Wang Kong. I picked this fight wrong. I was absolutely biased toward Tracy Cortez. My bad. I'm a dude. But Wang Kong, she did incredibly well. She did land one knee to the head of a grounded opponent. And that just, it took a point, but at the end of the day, I don't think it made that much of a difference in the outcome of the fight. Tracy's leg was getting chewed up. Not to sound too much like Joe Rogan, but man, you got to watch those leg kicks. It's brutal. It took away her base, it took away her power, and she kept trying to scrap. She took it to a decision. Obviously, it's a women's fight. They don't get finished too often. So I knew it was going to go to a decision, but Wang Kong styled on her. I believe it was 29-27 decision. Wang Kong winning all 3 rounds. First round was fairly close, but the leg kicks were absolutely brutal and sealed the deal there. Pinas, I don't even got to make a joke, but Damian Pinas just I don't want to make a joke. Damian Pinas exploded all over Cesar Almeida. Just one good shot to the face from Pinas, and you are down. It was beautiful. Hit him with a straight right. First round, KO, flat KO. He sat there over Almeida, fist in the air for about 10 seconds, just waiting for the ref to tell him to stop. Luckily, if Pinas had continued to unload on Almeida's face, it would not have been good. It would have caused some really serious injuries. Honestly, the ref should have stepped in a lot sooner. Huge respect to Pinas for not following up when he knew he didn't need to. This man's power is insane. I'm really excited to see what he does next in the middleweight division. Especially middleweight doesn't really have a lot of those power strikers, and Pinas has that heavyweight level power, that one shot, and not even a hook, that one shot on a straight right and you are down. It's amazing. I can't wait to see what he does next. Next up, Farid Basharat, John Garza. Just how bad is Farid Basharat? I knew I said Ewing would destroy him if Ewing hadn't dropped out. But Garza, who is a regional level fighter, not even on the Dana White Contender Series yet. At this point, I think he's probably going to be able to skip Contender Series because he did well enough against Basharat. But Basharat plays so defensive, he gets his side control, and he just barely ekes it out to a decision, 29-28 every time. It's just not interesting. I think it's a shame that they moved him up the rankings for his win in this fight. You shouldn't be able to move up the rankings when all you did was beat a regional guy. Um, John Garza, I think if he gets a little bit more experience, I don't think he's a contender in the bantamweight division, but he's exciting, has volume, has some power on his shots. I think we're going to see good things with Garza. Basharat needs a fraud check. Put him back up against Ewing if Ewing will wait that long. I think that was a perfect matchup because they want Fareed Basharat out of here. He's not, he shouldn't be in the UFC. He's boring. We know it's going to happen every single time. And I called it Fareed Basharat by boring decision. Moving into the last two on the early prelims, I called these fights perfectly. Well, we'll get into the next one. But Ryan Gandra, first round versus Zachary Reese. It was, Gandra has power. Gandra is technical. Zachary Reese has not shown anything that is really worthy of note. Believe I had said previously that Zachary Reese's best performance was nut kicking Dumas. So that really just doesn't say much. Ryan Gandra got it. First round KO. Great performance. This is his third finish in the UFC. It was really incredible. I think we will see him. He is a real prospect in middleweight as well. Has power, has technical skill. We're yet to really see him tested with a good grappler yet, but we'll just have to see as he starts moving up the division. But keep an eye on Ryan Gandra. His next fight will be a bigger name. It will be better competition, and we will see a real test for him. For the final fight on the early prelims, Alessandro Costa, Cody Durden. I said Alessandro Costa would get it done in round 2. I thought he would get it done on the feet. Locked up a beautiful submission. Cody Durden is not high-level competition. Hasn't really done anything worthy of note in his career. Costa, I honestly don't think Costa will get very far. I didn't see anything from him that really made me. Against somebody like Cody Durden, you should do incredibly well. And having it get dragged to a second round against Cody Durden shows the kind of fighter you are. So, Alessandro Costa got it done, round 2. I think he'll probably catch a loss in his next fight, though, especially if they give him some decent comp. And that was UFC 329. Man, Conor's cooked. Conor's done. Don't want to see him back in the UFC. If you think I'm wrong, let me know. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Was I completely off base? Was I right? Just let me know. Any support is really amazing. I really appreciate all of you taking the time out of your day. I'll have more videos going up. I'll have predictions for OKC this weekend. It's going to be good over here. So like, subscribe, leave a comment, hate comment, love comment. I don't care. It all helps. I appreciate y'all, and y'all have a good day.